Welcome to my channel. If you've just found me, I'm Cynthia Greer, spiritualist who works at the in-depth level of the soul. I help you connect with your higher consciousness to truly understand the divine source that created you, and by doing so, realizing that you are a part of that and can truly raise into the human being that you were meant to be by accessing those talents and abilities. Before we get started, please press the like, subscribe, share, and notification buttons. Those help my channel tremendously as I am completely self-funded and promoted. So here we go. We are moving into a 1 year on a planetary level. And this indicates the closing of a 9-year cycle. Now, this is going to have a great impact on your life no matter where you are at in your birth force cycle. Because the 1 is a time of forging ahead. It's a time of leaving everything in the past and no longer chasing after or ruminating in the phantom situations of the past that were very painful, that displayed a lot of avoidance, a lot of disrespect, and abuse. Letting go of that story of what somebody did or what they didn't do, and understanding the level of consciousness those individuals were at, and that because you could see clearly and you wanted to work on a higher level and communicate on a higher level, that this was for your growth. And this is how we begin to come out of the victimhood. It's no longer our story. Done is done. It is over with. In the 1 year, you come to the realization of how you are going to handle things from here on out in this new 9-year cycle that is upon you. Now, if you choose to stay in rumination over the past or in victimhood over what has been done to you, and you can't clear the old way of thinking, and you are constantly saying, but this happened in the past. This always happens to me. And so it's not going to get any better because no matter what I try to do, I experience the same thing over and over again. if you are really honest with yourself, that kind of thinking is what has held you back, because when you have the ability to truly release a situation and you are asking for divine healing and you are working towards divine healing, the mind clears. And as the mind clears, there is no need to spend the energy in that way of thinking, because you know that energy that you are using to think that way is going to deplete you from moving forward in a higher direction. Because when you are ruminating over the negative, you are dwelling in that energy. So there is no room for higher thought to come in. In a 1 year, what you're basically doing is you're taking the bull by the horns. Now, in the 9 year, as that was finishing up, you were coming to the realization of what hadn't worked in your life. And you knew that certain relationships had to end. Certain jobs had to end. Friendships, a way of life. And there was a lot of grief over that. When you are moving forward into the 1 year, what is happening is that if you are coming into higher intelligence, are going to quiet the mind to the point where you do only one thing at a time. You think about only one thing at a time. And you pray and you ask for guidance. Now, this is a key word, guidance. Okay? Because the big faux pas that a lot of people make when I talk to them about prayer and how prayer is answered and how it becomes an effective way of living your life through prayer and through accessing the guidance that comes with it, many people don't understand that when you are given a specific answer that comes in a moment of quiet, maybe several hours after you prayed, a light will go on that you should do something. That means that you have to take action, and that God is going to give you the strength and the ability to resolve those problems. Now, in my work that I do in advocacy and writing has brought me in contact with a lot of people who have chosen a criminal path in life, and they have gained control through lying and cheating and manipulation and have become quite powerful. And I have always found that when I hit a roadblock and there was a major challenge in that particular situation, that I was given the insight in how to diplomatically deal with individuals that surrounded that situation who could help me get it worked out. And this was how I was able to physically stay in this body, because there were a number of people that had refused time and time again to allow me to have the treatments that were life-saving that I needed to have. But I kept fighting it. And one by one, those issues were resolved and the truth came out about the situation. And I'll be really honest with you, it's ongoing. It is still coming out. But I had to be very honest with myself about how I related to the unfairness and how I identified with being a victim. Because no matter what it is that you are facing and dealing with, if you identify with being the victim and you can't look at the higher level and you completely lose your faith, then it's going to take you over mentally and emotionally, and you are going to suffer with an affliction involving your mental health. Now, I'm not a doctor, I'm not a psychiatrist, any of those things, so I cannot give you advice. But through my own experience and through working with other people, this is what I found, that once an individual goes down that far, many will stay in it for life because they cannot see the light at the end of the tunnel. They can't see the fact that problems can be resolved when the truth comes out. And when the truth is no longer hidden, then you know things are on their way. So if you look at this at a planetary level, look at all the power ploys and power grabs that came up politically. Look at where humanity was, especially in the United States, just 5 years ago, 6 years ago, and how many people were following like sheep, believing politicians, and this is on both sides of the political aisle, not just one, who came to the realization that these people were creating their reality as they wanted to live it, at the expense of the rest of us. So many good things happened, as brutal as it was, and as much of a loss that there was, and there were many losses. Many people's lives were affected. Their livelihoods were affected. But all of that truth came out. So, the lesson in that is that as we move into this 1 year, if you choose victimhood in any way, if you promote victimhood in any way, if you can't think for yourself, if you follow like a sheep, whether it is in a real dogmatic, spiritual, or religious environment, or it is a belief system that is so analytical, so critical, so judgmental, you will place yourself back in the experiences that happened in that 9-year cycle that we are leaving. So if the consciousness is not raised, if the awareness isn't there about victimhood, if there is any fear over what someone who is in a power of position could do to you, and not just politically, but within a family situation, you have to honestly look at that. You have to stand up for the truth. If you are an elder and your children are wanting what you have, and you have turned everything over to them and you're being suppressed, it's time to find help, because you are entitled to live the best years of your life. And if your freedom is jeopardized and people are considering you ready for the boneyard or a rest home, then think about your freedom and stand up to the truth. And this is for any other age group as well, because there is always hope. But the issue is that in a 1 year, you have to walk in faith, because you are basically taking the path of the spiritual warrior and the sage, the wise woman, the wise man, all in one. You are eternal youth, yet you are eternal wisdom. It's not about succumbing to ageism, because when you succumb to ageism, you have succumbed to the fear of death and the fear of what is going to happen to you before you die and how you go through that process. The 1 year is about looking at the fact that you are of flesh and blood. Your heart is beating. You have blood running through your veins. And there is a darn good reason that you are still on this earth, whether you have a sickly, disabled body, whether you are feeling that you cannot participate in life because of the caste system that has been created. When you rise above all of the projections that are coming towards mankind in general throughout this earth, you are raising into higher consciousness, and that is what the one path, the number one, is all about. Number one is preparing you for partnerships that will come in this cycle, possibly a marriage or a new beginning in a career, a new beginning in a new community that is more compatible to your vibration, to the way that you think, to the way that you live. When you are in the 1 year, it is very easy to get depressed because you think that things are not moving quickly enough. When that depression comes in, put everything on pause. Clear the mind and think about how far you have come. Think about what you know now, right now, at this moment, in comparison to what you knew even a year ago, 2 years ago. Where were you 5 years ago in your thoughts? And beyond that, you have to look at what you have gained. And no matter where you are sitting, health-wise or financially, you can find something that is going to catapult you in to this new beginning of harnessing the spiritual energies of moving forth, because this is what it's all about. It's about evolution. It's about moving forward. It isn't about going back to the past. On a worldwide scale, people who have felt displaced and separate, who are truly seeking, are going to gain at a soul level. The energy is here, right now, for you to have ultimate contact with the angelic realms, with the God source, with the ascended masters, to the point you will never feel lonely again. You will never feel less than again. When you believe, truly believe, you are going to experience that greatness You are not going to discredit God as a distant being who answers prayers for other people, but not you. You are going to see your part in it. You are going to see what you did mentally and emotionally that caused you not to receive the energy, the information. And therefore, you will be more open and more receptive, because in a 1 year, it's all about moving forward after surrender in the 9 year. Because in the 9 year, you were in closure. You were coming to terms what didn't work. So in the 1 year, you know that this is the time to move forward. You've been given the green light. It's time to take on the new year in the joy and understanding that these blessings and miracles really do happen, and that you are a child of God, and you are just as worthy and entitled as anyone else. I close this chat today by sending you a lot of love, and with the divine blessing of understanding that it was never God's will for you to live in such depression and anxiety and victimhood that a government or a religious organization or a social circle or family members have that much power over you that it's too late and it's hopeless. Know and understand the lies that you have been fed, and know and understand that God's divine power, God's divine power, God's divine power, God's divine power is magnificent and overall. Until next time, I wish you great love and many blessings. Happy New Year.